And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the An Post Special Award. This year, presented in memory of one of the most beloved members of the Irish literary community who so sadly died this year, the wonderful, the inspiring, the very, very courageous Emma Hannigan.
And never once was there any even element of self-pity or anger. She was just relentlessly positive, and I just think that is an extraordinary quality. She was kind of an exceptional person, really. You know, she lit up every room she walked into. She was always, always positive, always smiling, and always hopeful that, you know, she would finally beat cancer. Something I always think about is what Emma said. She said, you know, be kind, be grateful, and be happy, and that is something I think we could all live by.
She was incredibly funny, incredibly witty, incredibly smart, and just with that ability to be just that bit of magic. Of all the people I've known, she was truly a bright and a sparkling light, and I won't ever forget her. And I think that that's undoubtedly true for many of the people, if not most of them, who came across her.
When she launched this online campaign to text CURE to 50300, I got a message maybe 10 days beforehand asking would I push it online. Her family said, please, we want Breast Cancer Ireland behind this. She really wants to raise as much money as she can for researching a cure. So we did, and I remember after about a week she had raised over 50,000, and her husband got in touch and said, Aisling, she wants 100. And I thought, huh, really? So we said, okay, we're going to really give this as much as we can. And in the end, we had raised 133,000 about 2 days before she passed.
Emma has left a legacy actually on my behind, because she got me a voucher for my 40th birthday for a tattoo, which I promised to get with her. And unfortunately, she got too ill for us to go together. So now I have a unicorn on my ass thanks to Emma. So I literally have Emma's legacy on my behind. So do you kind of get the kind of person we're talking about here now? I still laugh every time I turn around. I'm like, what the name of God? To be honest, it's more like a giraffe now. The neck is stretched. I've put on a few pounds, but it's still there. And that's her legacy, is laughter. Her legacy is happiness. Her legacy is pink, glorious, fluffy, sparkles all around the place. And that's what she is. Yes, we can cry, we can mourn her, we can miss her an awful lot, as I do. But anytime I miss her too much, just think of that. Think of the unicorn on my ass.
And now, can you please welcome Emma's friend and fellow writer, Cathy Kelly, along with the CEO of An Post, Mr. David McRedmond.
Emma Hannigan, to those of you who didn't know her, she was a unique person. She was wise, witty, funny. She had the blackest sense of humour. One of her big jokes was, you know, from the penguins of Madagascar, just smile and wave when someone was annoying you. And she was unique in so many ways in that when she discovered she had the BRCA1 gene, she didn't falter. She said, they can cut everything out with a spoon. They were her exact words. She wanted the prophylactic surgery. She wanted everything gone that could possibly give her cancer, because she wanted to be alive for her beloved husband, Cian, for her children, Kim and Sasha, for her parents, for her brother, for the people she loved. And she was going to do anything to be there, which was absolutely amazing. In the days that followed, when she developed cancer, and she fought cancer many times, she said to me she wanted to write a book. And I always remember I was on holidays and she sent me the first few chapters, and I rang her really late and I said, oh my God, this is amazing, because just this life force was coming out of this book. It was intrinsically Emma, full of wisdom and humour and darkness and light. And I said, this is incredible. So she'd found something that she could do while she was sitting in the chemo rooms, while she was having chemotherapy, well, not while she was having radiotherapy. And she wrote, and we'd ring and we'd talk all the time, and she'd say, my story is worse than yours. And I'd say, no, my story is worse than yours. And sometimes I'd go into the chemo room where she was having chemo, and she was sort of reigning supreme. Sometimes she'd be wearing the little hat, you know, the little coal cap. And she did it all with strength and courage and grace and humour. And there are very few of us, I think, who could do what she did with such humour. And she went through cancer. She was there first and foremost for her family, for Kim and Sasha. It was incredible. She went around the bookshops. Those of you from the bookshops will remember she would turn up at her signings with her brownies, her special brownies. She was a trained chef. And no matter how sick she was, no matter how recently it had been since she'd had chemo, she would turn up. I mean, I would turn up to sign books, you know, sort of just about with makeup on. She'd have brownies. She was incredible. But as her fame grew, she knew there were other things she had to do. She wanted to help other people dealing with this difficult life she had to deal with. And she wrote a memoir, which I think everyone should read. It was called Talk to the Headscarf, which detailed an incredible fight with cancer, but with humour, with verve. One of the first things she wrote about it was that if you get diagnosed with cancer, do not go out and dig a hole in the back garden. Now, no one can say that. Nobody else can say that if you don't have cancer, but she could say that because she said there are two ways of handling this. There's digging the hole in the back garden, or there's going out and fighting it. And that's what she did. And her way of fighting was she wrote. She helped people. She helped writers. She helped people with cancer. The emails are still coming in from people who are looking for wisdom. They still come into her family. She did so many things with verve and energy. And somebody once said to her, "Are you not glamorizing cancer?" And she said, have you had cancer? And this person said, "No." And Emma said, "I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, but this is what I've got, and I'm going to deal with it with as much strength as I've got." And she dealt with it with the pink and the fluffy, but don't ever let that confuse you. Don't ever let you think that she wasn't the cleverest woman with this razor-sharp mind. She knew what she was doing. She wrote with great courage and strength, and she fought through research to stay alive. She always talked about how important research was. For example, Avastin, a drug that kept her alive for a long time, hadn't been invented when she first got cancer. So that's how, when Breast Cancer Ireland asked her to be an ambassador, she was so happy because she could finally do something for the research, which is so vitally important. She danced, she rehearsed for one of those strictly breast cancer things when she was having chemo. So she would turn up after having chemo and she was dancing Baby, where she gets lifted up in the air. I mean, she was like a little ballerina. She was incredible. And occasionally she would talk to me, because we talked 3 times a day, about, well, what if? And she was doing everything she could to stay alive for Cian, for Kim, for Sasha, for her brother Timmy, for her parents, Denise and Philip, and for Robin and Steffi. And then finally there came a point when it wasn't going to work anymore, when the pain, the agony, the cancer, it was taking over. And you know what she did in that last 2 weeks? She raised money. She wrote letters to the people she loved to tell them, don't be sad, get on with your life, I'll be hanging over here with my sparkly unicorn. She told her children and her husband, she told everyone how much she loved them, and she raised 135 grand. That is truly incredible. She is one of those amazing people. I'm sorry she never won an award for her beautiful writing, but it is glorious that she is winning this now, and she's, I think, hoping that all of you will raise a glass to her just sheer joie de vivre and passion for life, because she is truly an amazing person, and we'll never see her like again. Thank you.